I can accomplish and be productive in that 15 to 50 minute to 1 hour window. And I struggle so much with these software packages sometimes with it recognizing the mic or not being able to solve the mic, or it's just whatever it is. I just know with XLR, I can run and gun. So for me, a USB microphone is something where I prefer that it just sounds good out of the box without needing the software, so I can just get my work done whenever I've got to go to it. But if I had to use it, I would still like to have the microphone to have the software. So if I did have to sit down and use it, I can tinker with it, but I don't have to count on it. It's like ice cream to the meal. Like if the meal's awesome, I don't really need the ice cream. But if I'm there and I'm going to be doing a 1 hour podcast on USB, I would still like to be able to go in there if I can and use it. But if it doesn't work, close it out and just go.
So Mike and Clay, because you guys have way more experience than Joe and I have as far as the breadth of microphones you've used, USB mics that you've tested and used. I have yet to find the unicorn of a USB mic that has latency-free monitoring. My voice sounds the way it actually sounds when it's being recorded, and is actually a good quality microphone. I'm sure it exists. I mean, what is it? SE makes a USB mic? Oh, that's what I'm wondering.
Who'd you say? SE?
Yeah. SE makes a US the what is it? The Gnome or I forget, it's got a weird name, but I've seen that it's gotten good reviews. But
you know who's got a USB mic that has a headphone jack, has zero latency monitoring, and it always seems to work really well. It doesn't give that sound that I know Mike looks for, I look for, Kevin looks for, probably Joe, this, podcasty sound. Elgato, and I can't remember which one, but Chad, Chad on the road.
Yeah, the Wave 3.
Okay, that he never has an issue at all, and it always sounds. It doesn't sound as good as these, but he sounds. Speak.
To me, I like the Wave 3 because I feel like it's the most neutral of them all. It's not pumping low or pumping high or whatever. Yeah. It's more of just a podcast tone. But when I try to use that microphone a lot, I get latency because for some reason, you got to go in there and you have to adjust how much of the PC versus your microphone. And everybody else is fine with it. I struggle with getting that echo. It's a reverb in there. It's not late. There's a regular monitoring that's zero latency, but there's also a reverb from like a second source that's coming in on top of it. And I struggle to figure out, and I can never remember how to do it, but it takes me a while to get rid of that. But I don't use it all the time. So when I plug it in 3 months later, I got to do it all over again. So it drives me nuts. But when I'm able to do that and clean it up and it's just the monitoring, that's the only one to me that I would use. If I had to use a USB microphone every day in my workflow, that would probably be the one I would go with. Because
Wave 3.
Yeah, I'm not going to unplug it. I'm not going to have to walk away from it and figure it out. It's already set. I'm not touching it.
Here's a good question. Do you think you can realistically produce a professional sounding podcast using just a USB mic?
Repeat that again. I wasn't.
It should be. You should be able to see it on the screen. Do you think you can easily, or do you think you can realistically produce a professional sounding? Never mind, Mike. A professional sounding podcast using just a USB mic.
It's not a sound issue for me though. It's a trust thing. Like Joe was saying, like if you're doing this and Joe says it all the time, like it's different when you're depending on it. It's your job. It's your responsibility. I want to trust it.
Well, I can tell you one thing. When we're talking about software, I can't depend on this Ecamm software.
That's to our point.
I don't see any bad stuff about this nowhere. It's all good. Explain that. Explain that, because go ahead. Are you
so Kevin, I'm sorry, as I'm hissing, I didn't mean to be hissing. Kevin, the answer to your question is yes, because I listen to them. I there are creators that I listen to their YouTube channels, and they're on USB mics, and they sound great. What I don't know is what they had to do to sound great, right? And even if that microphone sounds great, man, I'm sounding like I'm bashing on USB mics, and I don't really mean that. Does it meet my criteria of those other things, right? Because you can plug a USB microphone in, and if you trust your computer to set the levels for you,
Yeah.
and go, and a lot of people do, then it meets your needs, and you're good to go. I guess I'm a victim of my own experience, right?
Yeah,
You
did
know,
you
I'm
wanna
a
add to
victim of
this?
the industry I worked in.
I don't want it to get too far. I saw a finger go up, so I'm trying to keep everybody able to
Yep.
speak.
Yeah, you can hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. Because I can't monitor myself. So this is like me on a phone. I can hear you, but I can't hear you, which is part of the problem. No, I've heard all you guys sound great. So yes, you can do it. You can do it. But the one thing a couple caveats. What's the room like? You know, I don't like overstating acoustics, but it is important. You can't overlook
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
And the
Mhm.
other difference is it live? I mean, one of the things about broadcast and the broadcast sound is it's done live with no latency. You could create a podcast on a so-so microphone and then take it to the editor and do all kinds of EQ and compression and
Mhm.
stuff after the fact just on the audio track. I think
Mhm.
that's something to take into account. So if you're trying
Mhm.
to do something live, whether you're a gamer or you're doing something like this or whatever, I think it's a lot more difficult to get a chain that can do it perfectly with no latency all the time than it is to record something and then take it back to the editor and run it through Isotope or whatever. So I think that's another part of that too, is you can make a lot of things work if you've got the time and the software and the energy and the expertise to go back and scrub them.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think you said too, gamers. Like my son is a gamer, and I cannot get him to switch to XLR to save my life.
Now, do you think that's because he doesn't want to mess with all the stuff?
He just wants to plug it into his tower and work it. And like Joe was saying, he doesn't need to hear himself. He doesn't want to hear his voice. So he's eliminating, and he's not doing it for sound issue. He don't care about quality. He's gaming with his
communication.
buddies. Can you hear me? Guys coming in the left, coming in the back.
It's all
So,
calm.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
It
It's
gives
just
me
communication.
shivers and chills to think that I can't hear if I'm talking too loud and distorting,
Yeah.
or
No,
I'm not loud enough, that I have to
Yeah.
depend on
No.
somebody to go, I can't hear you, or you're too
But-
loud.
There are certain times, though, Philip and the rest of you, that I take my headphones off, because if I'm doing some voice work and I've got everything set up and I'm concentrating on being a character or in the moment or whatever, I don't want to perform and be a director and a producer all at the same time. I want to just concentrate on the voice and the performance, and then go back and listen to it and see if I have to do another take.
I can see where that
Because
would be a real
because
thing.
it can be a lot of voice actors, once they have everything set up, they'll ditch the cans and just really concentrate on the script,
On
Yes.
being in
And-
it.
being in it. Yeah. So
Do you think
right
that
on.
part of that though is your system though? You're reasonably sure because you know your hardware and you know your is
sure. But the hearing myself
Mhm.
actually distracts me from concentrating on the
Inhibits. I would think
copy.
it would inhibit you from, like I
Yes,
said,
it does
Yeah,
make
because I'm
being in it.
concentrating on the sound and not the read. I don't want to be in my head. I want to be out here.
Yeah. And I think
I
that's
don't want
where
to be
Rode
here. I
NT1
want to be
fits
here.
in. Yeah, I think that's where the Rode NT1 5th Gen and the Earthworks Ethos, I think that's who they're tailoring to, the people who are speaking but don't need to hear the headphone monitoring, and they need the audio to be really good and trust it.
Mm.
Because again, I forgot this. Like every week I do a 2 to 3 minute video on things that are happening for the church, and I'm sitting in front of a camera and it's going to be played on Sunday. I record it on Wednesday. I don't wear any of this stuff. I'm standing in my studio by myself, recording myself speaking. And if I hear myself, it throws me off. And I just got to be in the room, focus on the material. I've got my teleprompter with my bullet points of things I need to hit. And I go,
If Michael's tuned his booth or tuned his room and he's got his ethos and he knows what it's like, and then the piece de resistance or whatever the French term might be, if you're using 32-bit float, you're not worried about peaking, right? I mean, that would be that if you had a room and it was like it and that's really the place you want to get. You want to get the microphone in your room and all that, and you just go in and work, and you don't have to worry about tweaking. That's where you get really efficient, is when you just walk in and do it.
Yeah.
And maybe you have this microphone for this and this microphone for that. But if you're really professional and you're trying, and time is money, that's not where I'm at. I'm a part-time voice actor. I'm a full-time teacher. But that's the real, I think, goal. I think it would be where all of you would want to be if you weren't tearing your places apart to do reviews. Right? I'm going to take it apart to do a review. I rarely, I don't. You've seen my channel. I've got, I think, 14 videos, and I don't do reviews in that way. I do informational videos, and they're generally at a table, So, but I have to set that up every time I do it. I have to set that up because that's not a studio. So
but and you said go ahead, Philip.
No, I'm sorry. You go, Mike. I'll go after.
I was just gonna say, for me, I don't even use any of my studio mics when I'm not wearing my headphones. I run a Rode M5 pencil, condenser microphone, boomed off shot, and I take my headphones off. Sometimes I want to play with my toys. It's been a while since I've had my, the Lewitt 440 or the SE 4100. I like to use that one just below the shot, pointing up at me for a nice audio. But again, I take my headphones off because I really want to drive the point. I don't want to be distracted. You're trying to sell what it is you're trying to speak, and you want them to believe that, you're excited about it. And, so that's all I'll say. I press my gear to where I don't use 32-bit float. I've dialed it in. I know if I yell, I'm going to be right around -5, but a normal voice, I'm right around -15, stay in there, 15 to -20, and then boost it in post.
Did you get the Rode M5 from doing music?
I'll be right back.
Is that what you have that for?
I bought them for choir mics. Because we got at the school, because it's a church and a school, a middle school and an elementary school. So we have a lot of spring concerts, Christmas concerts for the kids. So I bought them for that. But then I was using the Rode VideoMic Go 2 for a long time, plugged in USB, actually, funny thing. I used it as a USB mic into my Mac Mini and boomed it off shot and just would run with it. But it started having problems with, now there's like a constant hum or a hiss that I cannot get rid of, like some interference at the bottom, right in the low end. So I just stopped using that, and I brought one of the M5s home, and I love it. $100, or it was $200 for the pair, but I leave one there now in my office at the church, and I leave it boomed there. Have one boomed here, and wherever I go, I can have a talking head, quick, video to post on YouTube or Facebook, wherever. And then when I need to do a choir mic, I just bring one, I bring this one in from here to the building, and then I just, cross them and point and shoot and walk away.
Yeah, they're $170 a pair right now at Sweetwater.
Yeah. It was Bart from, or not Bart, it was Bronson from Audio Hotline put me on these. I was like, look, I'm not trying to break the bank. I'm not trying to do this for a living, but we got a lot of people that want to watch live stream, and I was using a shotgun microphone in there, and shotgun in a gym is awful. You're just getting all the it was awful. I was like, I need something. And I remember him saying that he used to go and record audio for Battle of the Bands and stuff like that in a live environment. I'm like, so what do you use for that? And he's like, man, Rode M5s. If you're not trying to kill yourself, but you just need clean audio. And boy, do they deliver.
The M5, that's their pencil condenser, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, well, but you just nailed it. The M5s, they are, for all intents and purposes, they are shotgun mics without the barrel, right? That's their beauty. That's their magic. Is you don't have to worry about comb filtering like you have to worry about potentially on a shotgun mic. Yeah, they're awesome. They're awesome. I just want to, what I started to say was, when I said I could not imagine not hearing myself. The only time I use headphones is when I'm doing something like this, other than to set my levels and everything.
Yeah.
So that's what I meant, was like, I could not plug, I just can't trust it, plug a USB mic in and hope that it's going to record. So what I end up having to do is actually record myself and see how it sounds. And yeah, I'll do that, but I don't want to have to do that. And I don't have to do that on my XLR setup. So, yeah, that's what I meant by I couldn't stand not to hear myself. You're right. You can't read a script or act or any of those things when you're
Right, like
listening to your
this-
own voice.
Yeah.
I got to shut off the camera. I can't look at myself
live.
when I'm recording.
I wasn't.
Yeah, when
laughing.
you're live, there's
You
no
guys-
recording a segment, going back and watching it and fixing it. You're live. Like tonight,
Yeah.
I need to know I'm good as we're going.
I wasn't laughing at you guys. You saw me laughing. These goofballs are putting comments in there that's making me laugh. When I said
I saw Kevin.
Kevin
see.
said the inmates are running the asylum. Sorry, I lost my control. Okay, sorry. I just had to let you know. I'm trying not to be rude.
So you want to get some comments?
Yeah.
Since
I mean,
Kevin's
was
got a
one
good
of them.
question.
Yeah, Kevin. Yeah.
Let me pull that on there on the screen here. So, Kevin, what's the first USB mic you ever tried, and how did it compare to your expectations? Let's start with Philip.
it was a Blue Yeti, and I was blown away for what it was.
Yeah.
But I didn't know enough to be upset. So, and it had monitoring, and it did a pretty decent job monitoring. So
Joe.
yeah, Blue Yeti.
So I think there's a difference between maybe tried and used. I picked up a couple things and tried them and said, that's cool. I'll use this for an emergency, right? Or whatever. But me too, it was the Blue Yeti. And the interesting thing is I've heard people talk about them redesigning the insides, and the older ones might be a little bit different than the newer ones. And it would be, I'm not a Blue Yeti expert, but so I bought a dozen of those I've got a Mac lab with 12 stations, and it's just like, well, you know what? First of all, I had a student come in with an audio project he did, and I'm like, where did you record that? Because it was really, really good. And again, this is in the context of student work, right?
Yeah.
But still, it was very good. And he goes, oh, I got this Blue Yeti. I go, what the hell is that? I've never even heard of it. It's when they first came out. And he says, I'll bring it in and show it to you. I go, and I thought that it's ugly, but very versatile, right?
Yeah, no, it works.
I found out that I found some on sale. I don't know if someone was having a sale. So I bought one for every computer. I don't leave them out. I put them in, but if students need them and they don't have anything else, they have those. So, and then when my son started recording or playing music, and wanted to learn how to multi-track, I bought him one, and I taught him how to do multi-track recording by laying down a track and listening to it, right? The monitoring, and then playing that next track down, and he produced some really nice songs. And again, in the context of being a 14-year-old, I was really impressed with what he could do and how it sounded. And I still think they're a lot of fun. So the idea that they're not good to learn with and to use and maybe podcast with, I think is overblown. I know some people plug them in and they can't control the volume and all kinds of other stuff. And it's like, well, maybe it's your drivers, or maybe, I don't know. It's the other thing is a lot of people always blame the microphone. So
Right.
Anyway, It was the Yeti, and I was again. I've heard some really great things come out of the Yeti. That's that, and it's versatile enough that I think it's a great mic for kids, not for professionals, but for kids because it can do lots and lots of things. And
younger adults just playing and having
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, or learning, and it's interesting because we wanted. I don't mind letting my students stub their toes and walk on rough ground and have some obstacles in front of them. In the same way that when I hear old record producers that are now famous and rich go, "Oh yeah, we all started producing albums on cassettes," and you know what that did? It made us think about dynamic range and noise reduction and how can we get the best out of what we have. And then when you graduate to better tools, it's a whole lot easier to be a whole lot better. So if you start producing on something like a Yeti and get really good with that, and then you upgrade,
Right.
you really get a lot of bang for that upgrade because now you've actually had to struggle.
That's like teaching your kid to drive a stick, even though they're always going to drive an automatic. They're a better driver in that automatic now because they know how to drive a real car. Mike, what was yours?
The Samson G-Track Pro, and I loved it, and I blew it up.
Phil, you got one?
Got one back there from my USB series I'm working on. Yeah.
Odd enough,
it's a prop in my studio now because I messed it up. My fault.
It wasn't the USB the Blue Yeti. It was a fine version of the Blue Yeti. I think it's called the K679.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here's what I can say about my Blue Yeti. It still works.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what we were talking. You and Kevin and I were talking about the other night. Is ultimately one of the trust. Well, we talked about it tonight too. Trust. I don't know about Logitech now. They're a decent company. I use their peripherals, but the first generation Yeti, which is what I've got, it still works.
Yeah,
it still sounds like a Yeti, but it still works. So
Yeah. So there's that question. I don't see any more just yet. Jason says that he only ever uses headset mics. I'm wondering if you're a gamer. Never really sees himself using a Yeti. Full stop. No, I don't blame you. It's just not as fun for me. It's a USB mic.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, of course.
That? It's got nothing to do with USB. Although I actually have some USB headset mics that someone was getting rid of and put online. Do you want them? And I said yes, just in case I ever needed them. I haven't still in the box, but a lot of people really hate on headset mics. And again, there's different levels. Most of the headset mics that you get for making phone calls, like the telemarketer headset mics, are garbage. They're for communication. And then you got the gamer headset mics that are a little bit better. But a lot of people that I hear online just talk about how terrible headset mics are. And I go, if you've ever heard of an NFL broadcast or an NBA broadcast or an NHL,
sound great.
They're all using Sennheisers, mostly Sennheisers. But they're expensive. I mean, if you had a really good over the ear that you can wear in an arena and you sound like a broadcaster, you're going to be paying $700 probably, depending on the model you get and what kind of plugs it has. And there's a whole range, obviously, but Audio-Technica makes some really good ones. You could sound great with a headset mic. You really can.
Real Rejects uses headset microphones, and they're established. They've been around for a long time, the ones they're using, but they sound great. But they've got a nice big capsule that's right here.
Do you guys think condenser USB mics are better than dynamic USB mics for most users, or vice versa?
I'm with Joe. It's dangerous. It's slim pickings. The worst mics I've ever reviewed on this channel, they happen to be the cheap USB condenser microphones. The worst ones I had the worst experience with.
Okay.
I mean, condenser microphones, they require you to know to be aware of your environment, and
Yep.
and they're just a lot less okay, they're a lot less forgiving out of the box. Julian Krause, I think, did a great video, and some other people too, talking about they're really the whole BS about, that it's BS when to say that condenser microphone or dynamic microphones are better at rejecting sound than a condenser microphone, and it's all about the point they made was, no, you can get the exact same performance out of both of them. You just have to set them up. But out of the box, dynamic microphones, out of the box, no tweaking, are definitely more forgiving. And for this kind of stuff, I think are the better way to go.
Well, they're less sensitive. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it's their curse, and it's also one of the things that makes them easy to use.
The dynamics
If
are
you
less
have
sensitive,
fans or air conditioners,
right? Yeah.
it's impossible with a cheap condenser USB microphone to get rid of that without OBS processing or something. But even then, when you're talking, the gate opens up and it picks, as you're talking, it sounds like you're in a wind tunnel, and then you shut up and it goes away. It's so drastic that it's not usable to me.
The Outsider Jess has a comment here. My worst experience, the Blue Yeti and the Toner TD510 being floppy. What exactly do you think they mean by the TD510 being floppy? Because I happened to like the TD510. That's floppy. Yes. But they fixed it.
The old one. The new one they fixed.
Yeah, this is the old one. You guys off the air are going to tell me how to fix this.
On a TD510, what's floppy? What's that? What do you got, Joe?
Here, this is one of my tricks here. You can get them in all different sizes, and they are actually, they're little O-rings. They're round, so they're not flat washers, but they're actually round. And you can get them in all different sizes. They're often used to like keep different. You might have one inside your oil plug for your car. You can go to the hardware store and get them in any size.
Yeah,
But
like
I put them. It's round.
I actually suggested this before.
So
about
it's
just
round. I
throwing
mean,
a washer in there.
it's round this way, but it's also got dimension. It's got thickness. It's
Because
it's round.
I'm pretty sure, at least with the AME, that's what was happening, is those screws were just bottoming out.
So you take the screws don't have threads far enough. They're poorly made. And the same thing, I'll do the same thing up here. Is if I don't have a nut on it, I'll put where is it? I've got one somewhere. I'll put it on. You can see this is a little 5/8 to 3/8 adapter.
Yeah.
And it's got the little jam nut on it, but then I've got one of these little washers on it. So if I'm tightening the mic and I've got a quarter turn to go, I can just quarter turn it, and that'll compress on the little washer. So I use them all over the place. I'm a big rubber band fan. I'm going
to Home Depot. I'm getting a set.
And I've talked to Clay the other. I was talking to Clay the other day about sometimes if I've got foam that's fallen off, I will. Where's my camera here? If I've got foam that's fallen off, I'll wrap it. I'll put one up here, and then the foam will just bite on the rubber.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. Yep.
So have you guys used the Shure SM7 or MV6? Excuse me, MV6.
No, I haven't.
I did. I bought it, reviewed it, and boomed it out of my window.
Oh,
You what?
God.
You watch it?
Oh God. Right.
That is a microphone that it can sound good, but you've got to max it out in the system for me. Like, again, I like that flat neutral, not too heavy in anything. And it is a gamer's mic. It is meant to communicate. And it is, to me, you've got to push that thing all the way to 100% dark for it to be usable on a podcast. And for me, I'm like, okay, this is a no-go. So it's built awesome. The software is cool. But out of the box, you just got to do so much to it for us to use it in this environment that I literally right back on eBay as soon as the review was over. Like I don't want this because
Fast.
there's no wiggle room. I had to push it all the way to 100% dark just to get it to where I could be okay with it.
Yeah.
But I knew there was nowhere else I could go with it if I wanted to tweak it. Like this is it. This is the only thing I can do with it. And to mess with it anymore beyond that through other software ruined it. It's just, I don't know.
How can see this is coming down to the trust. This is Shure. This is a company that you should trust. So you're using that little Shure little mini XLR USB interface, and it's loud. To your point, it's loud, and it's clean and it works. Okay, and I've used the other Shure MV microphones, USB microphones, and they seem to work pretty good. How do they make a product like that? It's Shure.
That one though, that I'm not upset with them because they're branding it and they push it and they sell it as a gamer's mic.
Gamers, yeah.
And that is what it is. Like
but gamers don't care about that.
What they want. No, to them they just want to shout, because again, when you're playing like Call of Duty, there's explosions, there's bombs, all of a sudden, and you're just saying, "Look out!" You need that voice to overpower anything they hear in their headphones as they're doing their gameplay from their computer. They gotta be heard, and they want it to be also so loud that you could hear footsteps in the room behind you of someone trying to sneak up behind you. So they need the subtle details to just be overwhelming and overpowering that you don't miss it. So for gamers, it's does the job, but for people like us that want to be able to use it for podcasting, boy. There's a lot of work to do to get it back to where it's a podcasting.
I want to address the outsider Jess real quick, if you guys don't mind. They said they live in New York City and they disagree on the noise thing between condenser and dynamic for USB. My Blue Yeti picked up every noise my TD510 didn't. So the Blue Yeti is a condenser and that's going to pick up more noise. A TD510 is a dynamic and it's not going to.
Yeah,
the dynamics
condenser
are
from
less
toner is
sensitive.
EC310.
Yeah, and then the condensers are way more sensitive, so they're gonna pick up everything. They're gonna pick up all your nuances of your voice, but they're also gonna pick up. I mean, even the dynamics do, but the condensers are gonna be worse. So
okay,
how
nerdy do you want me to be?
Yeah, there are plenty of podcasts. For example, Robert Meyer Burnett at the Burnett Work, he uses a Blue Yeti, and he sounds great. And he's not in a foam treated studio. In fact, he's surrounded by toys and stuff like that in a garage, basically, because he uses proximity and he uses the right setting on the microphone, and he's got it balanced.
He stays right on top of it.
He does no, but he's close enough that he gets enough proximity.
Usually like 4 to 6 inches away, I think.
Yeah.
So he's live.
What's that?
He goes live all the time.
Yeah. In his home studio, he does live streams. And then when he does podcasts on the John Campea show, he's using a pod mic usually.
Yeah.
Because it's possible to run your mic into like Reaper and apply effects on the way in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then run it back out to a stream. You can route it, so it's possible to put effects on a USB mic. It just takes some doing.
Well, I did it with OBS all the time.
Yeah.
I would put filters.
Yeah.
I would just use filters.
Yep.
And I'm not saying he doesn't process it. I don't know.
Everything you wanted to do, I could do in OBS. Matter of fact, I might start streaming with them if Ecamm don't straighten up.
Philip's point too, I watch a sports podcast, just one here. It's a radio show, a sports talk radio, but on Sunday nights they go on for an hour. And this guy uses during the day he's using a Neumann BCM 705, and then he has a Blue Yeti at home in his home studio. Still sounds good the way he's using it in his room. And I know, like he'll sit there and say, like, I'm not. I rely on the producers to make me sound good, in the studio. He said, for me at home, I plug it in, we're communicating. So it's not treated room, but again, proximity. So it doesn't sound, he's using a Blue Yeti, and there's nothing that puts me off listening to him on a Yeti.
You do like a pop filter in front of it?
He's got a pop filter on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Robert Meyer Burnett does not.
Yeah, he does not. But I was curious to Joe. You were saying you wanted to be brutal. I think I'd
Yeah.
love to hear your take.
Be brutal, Joe.
Well,
Be brutal.
I'm not sure it was brutal. The one of the problems about these mics also when we're comparing is that the specifications are so poorly written that there's a difference between frequency range and frequency response.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is we're talking about the difference between about what a dynamic microphone versus what a condenser microphone will pick up, or are they more sensitive? What do we do in those different spaces? Is a dynamic better? And the reality is that it depends, and that when you're looking at a polar pattern that most microphone manufacturers are going to publish, they're going to publish the one that seems to be most competitive with their make themselves look best, right? So polar patterns vary by frequency response. And if you have a polar pattern and it doesn't say at what frequency it is, it could be anything. If you buy a really expensive mic, they usually come with several polar patterns for that microphone that have been tested. If you buy a Neumann, it'll have, 250 hertz, 500 hertz, 1000 hertz, 2500, it'll have a whole bunch of different polar patterns. And it's that off-axis rejection as much as the sensitivity at different frequencies that can make a microphone sound terrible. It's like, I'm not even sure that most reviewers, and I'm not trying to hate on anybody, but I'm not sure that most reviewers, when they're talking about, well, this is what it sounds like when they're spinning a microphone around, know that it's frequency dependent, and depending on your voice, the frequency, the rejection could be much better or much worse, because the lower the frequency, the less direction most microphones tend to be. So it's and I'm not trying to hate on everyone. I'm not trying to say people shouldn't review microphones. I always watch them, and sometimes I look at them askance and go, "Oh, I'd like to see someone else do that same test
with a different voice."
But with a different voice or in a different room,
that explains a lot that's been going on in my head with some of this stuff. Is I've noticed when I'm doing a review on something and I'm doing an off-axis rejection, sometimes I'll get a mic that when I turn it sideways, I barely hear anything at all. But yet I've seen somebody else do the same thing with that same mic, and I could hear it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I doing? I don't have nothing running. I'm checking noise suppression.
It's why it's always important. And when people are asking me on my comments, should I get this one? Between this one and this one? I'm like, dude, is your voice similar to mine? Because if it is, then I can give you some good advice. But if it's like, what's your voice sound like? Do you have a deep voice, high pitched voice? Like that matters.
Yeah.
That microphone is designed, like Joe was saying, a frequency response, pickup, all that stuff. So my tone, my voice lives in a different space than his voice or her voice would. It's like, it's not going to perform the same for you as it does for me. If you like it on my voice, go watch someone else's review that has a voice similar to yours before buying, picking a microphone.
Right.
Yeah.
And your wood room there, Mike, your wood room rings. It gives your voice more like as if it had saturation on it, because your room resonates in a similar space to your voice, so it helps your voice. It doesn't hurt your voice. I think.
I tell everybody, like, the reason I put palette walls on both sides of me is the guy who because again, we're a church, but I don't do all the music install or the equipment installs and all that other stuff. We bring in a professional company, and he was telling me for my voice, he said wood walls. And I don't know why he said that, but I trust it. Like, this guy, I wish I could download half of his brain when it comes to audio. And he was like, for your voice, you need some wood walls. So I was like, because I was telling him, what kind of acoustic treatment what I need in my studio, your recommendation to do microphone reviews. And he was just like, well, I don't know about microphone reviews, but he said, if you're going to do podcasts, he said, I think with your voice, you need to have some palette walls because it's porous but it's still rough a little bit. And he said a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of churches.
staggered.
That's why you see a lot of wood walls at churches, because the way people's voices, for the most part, bounce off the walls, the acoustics that come off of it. So he said, just don't go straight up acoustic. Throw some shaggy carpet on the floor, put some mattresses in there, a cushy futon in there. And then, of course, he said, if you can put some pallet walls in there and don't finish it, don't paint it, don't stain it, just throw the wood up there. And that's what I do. That's what I've done.
Joe?
I was looking at Jess's question that came up about the PS4 and PS5.
I'll put it
I
back.
don't know anything. I don't know anything about
Oops.
those.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about putting audio into that system. I know gamers who will game on a PC and
Oh, here we go.
Uh-oh.
No, I can
going
still hear
down.
you, Clay.
Nope, but Joe's froze.
There you go.
Oh,
Ecamm has decided it's done.
But to
yeah.
to Joe's
None of you
point
guys
real
are
quick.
moving. I can hear you, but you're not moving. None of you.
Oh,
Good
I
Lord.
can see three of us moving. I can see Philip and
Oh.
Clay and Mike moving.
Yeah, me too. But it's coming.
Yeah,
Before I get cut off, to Jess's point, they'll say when you buy the microphone USB-C if it's Xbox or PS5. They'll tell you before you buy it when
Yeah.
it's compatible. But that's frustrating too for USB microphones. The MV6, for some reason, some of them work on Xbox. Some of them only work on PS5. Oh, there I went.
You're still good on my end. So I guess we'll continue this show because it's coming. It's going to cut us all off. I don't know what's going on. It says you've been on for more than 30 minutes. Your time is up. It's not saying that for real. And now everybody is frozen. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this. I'm going to end it because I'm not dealing with this again. It's very frustrating. So anyway, we'll continue the USB debate on another show. Thank you everyone for chiming in. Your questions help fuel the show. I appreciate it. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and play an outro and we will see you next time. And it's not even playing it. What?